area I allow now, I lawyer finish my country people. See, for all this video where I bring console, in fact, and the water too much. See, starting from Kenneth Okonkwo, what this guy said is the fact. I don't know why APC, Tinubu, and the people who said they want to fix our country are turning their eyes on the truth. Really, this is the pure truth of what this guy said. You can't say think this one is ruled out, that one is ruled out, there is no fact about it, there no ignoring what INEC is supposed to do. Man, that's the first one, guys. As that one constantly bolo for, I the year say, hey, people don't they holler, or the Muslim ticket people don't they holler, don't they cry, say why Tinubu go they give Christian juicy position? Why they don't they attack Tinubu from left and right? And look who they look, oh, whether not Christian, whether not Muslim. We are all one Nigeria. I go still show una the video where common sense make concerning Tinubu Chief of Army Staff Femi Gbajabiamila. Say he thief money, client money for US. You know, say the man they brag, say, you know, so he be lawyer. I go still show the video for this place. Mokuna Sam. My people, even the Obasanjo own, the thing don't serious, it don't get Lego. Don't be as they look am, the whole thing don't get. So my people, so now the trends where they happen when I put together, make una watch. I bet mokuna watch from the beginning to the end. And man, I'm not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Una do well, una thank you so much.
Now, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, another person aligning with Wole Soyinka's position is Reno Omokri. He says Peter Obi was just a pawn in the hands of the APC. He says, and I quote, both the man who convinced him to leave the PDP and much of the money he got as donation came to him from the APC. What are your thoughts on this two gentlemen's position?
Well, you have to spare me their thoughts so that I will be privileged to say my own thinking. The fact is very clear. As I talk to you today, INEC has not provided polling unit by polling unit results in very clear terms as demanded by law to convince Nigerian people on who won the election. That is what the law demands from INEC. And I'm talking about section 62, subsection 2 and 3 of the Electoral Act. Whether it is a pre-election or post-election issue, the law says INEC should update, compile election results on polling unit by polling unit basis throughout Nigeria. And whoever wishes to receive a copy of it should be given one. As I talk to you today, INEC has not done it. What are they hiding? And some people are out there being mouthpiece to a failed organization that could not even live up to the dictates of the law. They just brought up figures and announced to the whole world, shamefully, after months of such declaration, 18,088 uploaded results are still blurred, blank, and nothing given by INEC. There is no court judgment that can overrule that because we were given such things from the INEC IREF portal. So what we are saying is not about who won or lost. We are saying that election should be free, fair, and credible. Credible means believable. Justice should not only be done, it should be seen as done. Please, if you have seen the results, polling unit by polling unit, either based on original unmutilated from EC8A or electronically stored and uploaded results of INEC, polling unit by polling unit, in 176,000 units, polling units in Nigeria, please show me. And I will be willing to toe your line. You can't come to bamboozle Nigerians. A man who failed election in his own state, failed election in the FCT, couldn't get 25%, failed election in the national chairman state, failed election in his DG campaign state, all those states that are visible, unmanipulable. He failed. And then you're coming to tell me to believe that he won. On what grounds? There is an organization that the Constitution mandated to undertake, organize elections, and the law compelled them to update these results and show the world. They failed. Until today, even after the election, they failed. So whoever is telling you that anybody won that election is a conjecture. And this is no matter what the court says. Because statutory laws in our hierarchy of laws in Nigeria is superior to decided cases. And time has come when we should be holding the judiciary accountable to statutory laws. They do not have the right to make laws. The only right they have is to interpret it. I have given you a section of the law that compelled INEC, even at the risk of sending them to jail. And I'm telling you today, they have not given us the results. If you have seen the results, let me know. And as long as those results are hidden in shadows, not in substance, whatever is the result, whatever is the declaration by the court, you cannot convince anybody anywhere in the world. Because it is not the judiciary that puts people in power in a democracy. It is the people. The people have voted. Show them the results of their vote so that they will, with certainty, tell you, yes, we believe.
Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, over the weekend raised eyebrows amongst many Nigerians, including the Yoruba Council worldwide, after he ordered traditional rulers to get up from their seats and greet him and the governor of Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde, at a project inauguration in Isheyin. During the inauguration ceremony, Obasanjo expressed dismay at what he described as monarch's disrespect and disregard for the office of the governor as they remained seated while he and the governor were being introduced. Obasanjo told monarchs that the Yoruba culture has regard for both age and position, adding that the position and authority of a governor or a president at any event supersedes that of any traditional ruler in attendance. Let's take a look before we come back for some reactions.
Ibi tí gómìnà bá wà tàbí president bá wà kò sí ọba náà ó ní láti dìde fún gómìnà tàbí fún president ẹ dìde ẹ jókòó.
All right, Ayo, you know, the Yoruba Council has called this action sacrilegious. They are asking for an apology. Let me take some more tweets. This is from Baron, who wrote, I strongly believe the instruction was for the kings to stand and greet the governor. OBJ stated that the Yorubas respect two things amongst others. 1, age. 2, position and status. OBJ also stated that the governor is more powerful than any king. Well, Kayode wrote, Obasanjo is not defending Yoruba tradition here. He's defending the colonial legacy that makes kings insubordinate to elected officials, that and also the atenuje of most Yoruba traditional rulers. I can't imagine Obasanjo ordering the Obi of Onitsha, or Oba of Benin, or Awujale.
So, I mean, it's been trending, yes, OG, and very contentious as well, because this is quite a sacred topic, especially the way that the Yorubas and I would say many Nigerian cultures revere their obas, even though they don't have constitutional powers, but they do have immense influence amongst their people. Let me take that from the last tweet about if he wouldn't behave like this in terms of, and that's with all due respect to the former president himself. I recall when he went to visit the Olu of Ori just after he became Olu. President Obasanjo voluntarily, knelt before the Olu, and that iconic picture was trending as well. And so if he was willing to do that for the Olu of Ori, what was the difference here? Because he had also talked about the long history and the, the relationship he had with the father of the Olu of Ori, who's also a traditional, he's a king, as well. So it wouldn't have, I think it was the way and manner in which he had done it. Even if, as he mentioned, Yoruba people, the Yoruba culture respects age and status. he spoke to them as if he was speaking to ordinary boys or just men, and almost reprimanding them. And we know just how highly the people revere their obas, and also the traditional connotations around disrespect of the crown and the king. You would notice that initially the obas seemed to be laughing when they sat down, but this oba in the third one, in the blue and white outfit, was obviously upset after he had sat down, you know, following what had transpired. Now there have been reactions, including calls for him to apologize.
Yes.
His wife, Mrs. Taiwo Obasanjo, has written a letter apologizing, almost as if she was removing herself and her children from whatever consequences these obas have promised the former president. And others have said, oh, just let it be. He's an elder statesman, so just, you know, allow it to go. But I think the reason why they will respond is so that it doesn't set a precedent for the denigration of traditional and historical institutions, which we respect very much and hold very highly in our nation.
All right, Dr. Bati, some people are saying it's the obas that they blame for even standing up for Obasanjo.
A number of things here. First is protocol. And that was where President Obasanjo seems to be coming from in an additional exclusive interview that he has granted on the subject. He was not asking them, the obas, to stand up for him. He was asking them to respect Governor Seyi Makinde. And from the exclusive story that I've read this morning, you know, he said when the governor arrived, everybody stood up. The obas refused to stand up. When it was time for the governor to make his speech, he, Obasanjo, and other people stood up. The obas still sat down. It was at that point, in an extended video, that he now, you know, took over the role of the sergeant major of the occasion and asked the obas to stand up and to sit down. So he said he was defending protocol, that no matter how young a governor may be, protocol shows that when the governor arrives, you stand up. Now, the other thing that people have brought up is culture and tradition. Under culture and tradition, obas are regarded, traditional rulers are regarded as representatives of deities. They are considered sovereign deities, you know, on earth. And for that reason, you know, a king is venerated, a king is to be respected. And it is because of the harshness of President Obasanjo's tone that people are saying, you know, he shouldn't speak to traditional fathers like that. You know, that's the second part of it. The third point about this is the whole point about tradition versus modernity. Okay, traditionally, obas are supposed to be, you know, worshipped and all of that. But the situation has changed. Since colonialism, since the military took over, obas are regarded as, you know, appointees of the state government. They collect salaries from state government. So as far as constituted authorities are concerned, you know, traditional rulers are no better than people working in the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Local Government Affairs.
This is so wrong.
Quickly, this is not the first time all of this will happen. In 1953, Chief Bod Thomas, when he became the chairman of the Oyo Council, Legislative Council, he went for a meeting and obas were there. Everybody stood up to welcome him. But at that time, Oba Adeniro Adeyemi II, Alaafin of Oyo, refused to stand up. He sat down. So Chief Bod Thomas reportedly turned towards him and asked him, who the hell are you? Who is this person? Who is sitting down when, you know, the chairman of the council has arrived? Okay, the rest of the story is well known to those who know the details. In 1957, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you know, in the Western House of Chiefs, entered, right? All the traditional rulers stood up because, you know, the big man had arrived. But one of the kings refused to stand up. And that was Oba Ademuwagun Adeshida II, the Deji of Akure. So, reportedly, Awolowo was annoyed. And he asked him, he said, who are you? Can't you see that I just entered? You are sitting down. And that one stood up and said, well, I'm the Deji of Akure, Adeshida II. And that you and I studied law in England. Look at the people sitting down here, Oba Kenzwa, all these elderly kings. So, because you are premier, so we should all stand up for you. And that particular Deji of Akure walked out on Chief Obafemi Awolowo. But we understand the matter was settled later with the intervention of the inimitable Chief Nnamdi, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. So in this particular case, Oluwo of Iwo has asked Chief Obasanjo to apologize. Well, he's not likely to apologize, but I'm sure they will find accommodation. But it's just a lesson about how the traditional institution has been lowered in modern times.
And that is my
a matter
point.
that is well dramatized in Wole Soyinka's Kongi's Harvest.
Yes, and that is my point. Should traditional rulers be degraded this way? And what gives the presidents and governors powers over them in this manner? What is it? Is it the Constitution?
They pay their salaries.
I mean, it's really wrong. I mean, why should our kings be standing up for just public officers? Rufai, quickly so we can...
So, there are two sides to it. Yes, we've heard the argument about protocol and all of that by President Obasanjo and all of that. Two things. One, the first thing I'll say is we shouldn't denigrate our traditional institution.
No.
But our traditional institution too should not denigrate itself. Because in all of this, we know the antecedents. How did it start? It started when the British colonialists came in. When the traditional institution was fighting with itself, Kosoko and Akitoye. And the British came to settle about the HMS Prometheus in the late 1800s. And they took over Lagos, started bringing in their authority and all of that. And we know that story as it continues. But what I'm also saying is, they should not denigrate. And we also know that the process of bringing in traditional rulers have been politicized.
Yeah.
So most of these political heads, they reign very strongly, writ large over this traditional ruler because they are the ones that put them in sometimes. Even traditional leadership position is based on political patronage now. It's people that are close to you, you put there as kings. And we have history replete with people not even respecting traditional rulers. You remember the case of Oni of Ife? And the current president, that handshake. So there are many cases that are bound. But also we've had cases of allegations against traditional rulers that take all sorts of substances and do the likes. So the traditional rulers too should please protect the institution, and we do not support anything against the traditional rulers, any denigration or disrespect, but they should protect the institution. We've heard about scandals of traditional rulers and things like that. So they should also carry themselves with that embodiment that they are the Igbakeji Orisha. What it means is they are second in command to the gods of the land. But please, both parties should calm things that we should appease both parties. I wanted to say more. You will take the next story on.
Well, let's take another story. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu last week nominated Yemi Cardoso as the new governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Cardoso's nomination comes 3 months after Godwin Emefiele was suspended as governor of the Apex Bank. The 66-year-old banker was born to parents who were descendants of Brazilian returnees and comes from a prominent family on Lagos Island. His father, Felix Bankole Cardoso, was the first indigenous accountant general of Nigeria in 1963 and the first indigenous vice chairman and managing director of Barclays Bank of Nigeria. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has had a long history with Cardoso. When Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State from 1999 to 2007, he appointed Cardoso as commissioner of Nigeria's first standalone Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. Well, in the video now making the rounds on social media, Tinubu hinted during the electioneering campaigns that he would like Cardoso to be on his economic team if he became president.
We have to look at fiscal policy and separate that from monetary policy. We have to get an headmaster like Cardoso. Where is he? You see there. So don't run away. To be persistent, you can't pass a sheet of paper through him unless you have a budget head for him. Then there's no head. Then we name him headmaster. The job he did for Lagos State, with him, Wale Edun and others, and Dele Alake, Oshia, was great. I was not alone. I was with a great team, unbreakable team.
Well, I guess he has his unbreakable team at this point. We have Dele Alake now on his team. Now we have Cardoso. But I mean, I guess you guys discussed it earlier. I hope that, the policies of the CBN or the reforms will take shape. Well, in another development, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, was in Bangladesh over the weekend to attend the global conference organized by the government of Bangladesh in conjunction with the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council in Dhaka. On the sidelines of the conference, Obi met with Prime Minister of the country, Sheikh Hasina, and congratulated her as well as her team for what they have been able to achieve in their nation with the support of SMEs in the last 15 years. While delivering his remarks at the summit, Obi stated, among other salient points, that SMEs in Commonwealth countries are key to global economic growth and rapid expansion.
I must say that credits to SMEs in Bangladesh have been quite impressive, though not what it should be. But in other countries, like in Nigeria and Africa, they need to do more. There needs to be a dedicated percentage of the overall country credit lending that should go to SMEs, being that this is the engine in which those countries can grow and be able to build sustainable development and improve their economy.
All right, Rufai, over to you.
All right, a couple of things about those two stories. I mean, President Tinubu finally got his team. It's time for them to get out to work. He's got Yemi Cardoso in there. He's got Wale Edo. It's just time to get out to work and fix the economy of this country as much as we can, because we have a lot of problems. Inflation is high. Everything's at an all-time low for Nigeria. Real quickly, as regards to Obi in Bangladesh, very well said. He's constantly touted Bangladesh as a model for SME, and we can't absolve the fact that it's not today we've been talking about Bangladesh as a model for SME. Don't forget, Ibrahim Babangida, adapted the model of Bangladesh, the Grameen Bank set up by Mohammed Yunus many years ago, to set up something called People's Bank in Nigeria. That was headed by the likes of Maria Shokanu and Taisholari of blessed memory is dead. So that's to show you that we've always looked at Bangladesh as a model. And it's gone there, said, 40% of their GDP is pretty much for small business. You can see the revolutionary work done by, Sheikh Hasina, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman of Bangladesh there. And it's just gone there to talk about this in summit and conclude, as regards many ideas that we can adapt here. But we must be able to help our SMEs here.
Well, it's nice to see Peter Obi go around and, continue to talk on how to make Nigeria better. Well, before we take our final story, let's pull up this cartoon depiction of the presidential spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale, with the immediate past Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, in a Lion King poster made by Federation_now in the wake of reports by an anonymous official of the United Arab Emirates contradicting claims made last week by the presidential spokesman that the UAE had lifted the visa ban imposed on Nigerians. Well, the cable news network CNN had reported the statement by the UAE official who said that the visa ban on Nigerians remains in effect. Well, let's take a quick tweet from Daniel Buala, who wrote, "Brace up, people. The coming days and months, you may need to fact check and verify every statement issued by the presidency and filter it in your decision making in business or generally in life, because they campaign in poetry and are unfortunately governing with propaganda." I'm sorry, well, he wrote propaganda. I'm reading. That is Daniel Buala. Well, we did see that story trending. But I mean, it's still unconfirmed. I believe our jury released a statement after this.
There was celebration.
This news,
We even posted a video during business segment about companies rejoicing at the fact that the federal government. I mean, how authentic a source more can you get? So you can't say that your source was faulted. The federal government itself released a statement that the ban was off with immediate effect. And next thing we're hearing is that the implementation is faulty because it's not happening. And now a UAE source is saying that it's not happening. That's they have questions to answer. I think it's quite embarrassing.
All right, then. We'll take our final story. In Ondo State, the Ondo State Women Affairs Commissioner, Olubunmi Ausha Dahun, was attacked over the weekend during the distribution of palliatives to cushion the effects of the removal of fuel subsidy. The commissioner was said to have been attacked by a man identified as Olumide Awolumate, who is the ward chairman of the All Progressives Congress in the council area following the allegations that the exercise was shrouded in secrecy by government officials. Oh, this is horrible. I don't know. I mean, I was very upset earlier. We were talking about all these palliatives. We saw one in Kwara State. We saw one also in Ibadan, and people were fighting. But this is unacceptable, Dr. Abati. I mean, the guy was saying that, you know, the woman's son attacked him first, and that's why he attacked the woman. I don't know.
There's no justification for any kind of violence or assault. That gentleman, world chairman, Kagbi, of the APC, attacking anybody at all, whether he's a commissioner or anybody, is not acceptable. Number two, I was stressing the correct pronunciation of the man's name.
Yes.
Awolumate.
Yes.
It means a man who enters a community with dignity. But
What kind of dignity is
this? It's undignified, it is shameless,
what is this?
and it's condemnable. The commissioner has been taken to hospital.
Yeah.
I hope she will file charges,
Yes.
press charges, and insist on her fundamental rights.
Femi Gbajabiamila Gbajabia bog. That's it. Femi, Chief of Staff to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, PBAT. His law license in the US that he's bragging about has been revoked in the US for corruption charges. They say that he stole a client's money and he violated the rules of the US bar. Now so. Now people like that, not they our hems of affairs, not they our governance and administrative structure. And they control them. Former speaker, now chief of staff. You see, this how lion will take born goat before. Wait. That's after Femi, we are waiting for Festus Keyamo. All of you, all the crimes you have committed in various, you go to catch up. I know it doesn't have any bearing, You guys will still be present. We have living in a lawless country. You will continue to enjoy your loot and enjoy your corruption, to be corrupt, nothing happen. But God will continue to expose all of you after the other. All the connivance, all the combination, all the agreement, alliance will not run to run this country down. Now we cannot. I'm not going to blame Yahoo. Who get the greatest Yahoo? You steal clients' money now. Not with me talking. Now just listen to it. Listen to them. And share this video. We're not the fear. Let the video go round. Let them know we are aware. So all these things what they do for you in our story. Nothing. Imagine. When you were nobody, they practice law, you still client money. It's today okay. When I watch the video, I'm gonna share the video. According to the People Gazette, former Nigerian House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila has been terminated as a licensed lawyer of the State Bar of Georgia in the United States after his corruption and ethical lapses have stripped acceptable threshold for members. The Nigerian politician who currently serves as the chief of staff to President Bola Tinubu, himself a man of uncountable scandals, was ostracized from the prestigious body effective July 1st, 2020, according to records recently obtained by the Gazette. He was found to have stolen money from a client and also failed to pay his membership fees. Mr. Gbajabiamila's disgrace in the US underscores yet again the gulf between civilizations that exert fair and available instruments to foster accountability versus Nigeria, where transparently fraudulent, odious figures are in charge of the most consequential positions of authority. For several weeks, Mr. Gbajabiamila dodged the Gazette request for comment about his corruption and punishment in the US. Georgia's bar officials told the Gazette that Mr. Gbajabiamila's ordeal began when a client filed a grievance against him for theft. Mr. Gbajabiamila subsequently ignored the bar and stopped paying his fees and other membership obligations. On July 2nd, 2015, Mr. Gbajabiamila was suspended for 5 years. The suspension was finally approved as a permanent termination of his membership on July 1st, 2020. Mr. Gbajabiamila, who was admitted to the State Bar of Georgia on June 29, 2001, was the Speaker of the House of Representatives as at the time of his infractions in the U.S. In a unanimous decision on the 26th of February 2007, the Supreme Court of Georgia approved the suspension of Mr. Gbajabiamila for 36 months after he admitted stealing $25,000 from a client. He was reinstated after serving out his suspension, only for him to commit another infraction that led to his final dismissal. Mr. Gbajabiamila, who has been a member of the bar since 2001, admit that he accepted payment of $25,000 as settlement of a client's personal injury claims, deposited those funds in the attorney trust account in January 2003, failed to promptly disburse those funds to his client, withdrew those funds for his own use, closed the practice, and moved out of the country, the court said at the time. Mr. Gbajabiamila, who had been a federal lawmaker for nearly 4 years before the verdict, paid the money back in 2006, a year before the judgment, in order to get a lighter punishment, including being disbarred. Whereas Mr. Gbajabiamila has suffered the consequences of his known offenses in the U.S., which span from early aughts through 2020, his corruption in Nigeria has gone unpunished. In 2021, Mr. Gbajabiamila was among top lawmakers and government ministers who received heavy bribes from private businessmen to undercut local communities in passing the controversial 2021 law regulating the Nigerian hydrocarbon industry. Recently, he also faced allegations from within his own party that he received bribes to sell key government positions. A video produced by ruling All Progressives Congress Youth Wing accused him of unbridled corruption that could severely undermine Mr. Tinubu's administration. He is yet to deny the allegations, but some of his supporters accuse those behind the campaign as saboteurs. After spending the past 20 years as a federal lawmaker, House Speaker, and now President Tinubu's Chief of Staff, Mr. Gbajabiamila may not need to work again as a lawyer. He also has little to be ashamed of since he's on Tinubu's team. Looking at the characters serving with President Tinubu.
This is Bod TV Bod. In case the first time you come here, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more uploads.